Welcome back to my YouTube channel, Rare Coins, Hidden Treasures, and Unbelievable Discoveries from Everyday Pocket Change Come to Life, and today's story is one that will leave every collector, enthusiast, and casual viewer absolutely fascinated, because we're diving deep into the mysterious and incredible world of the 2009 1-cent coin, a penny that, due to a combination of errors, minting anomalies, and rare circumstances, has been valued at a jaw-dropping $5 million, making it one of the most astonishing modern coin discoveries in recent history, and what makes it even more fascinating is that this small copper-plated coin, which most people overlook or toss into jars, hides behind its simple appearance a story filled with mistakes, variations, and possibilities that transformed it from an ordinary Lincoln cent into a multi-million-dollar treasure that continues to astonish experts, numismatists, and collectors worldwide. The 2009 1-cent coin marked a very special year in U.S. coinage history because it celebrated the 200th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth and also the 100th anniversary of the Lincoln cent itself, and to commemorate this, the U.S. Mint released 4 different reverse designs representing different stages of Lincoln's life: birth and early childhood in Kentucky, formative years in Indiana, professional life in Illinois, and the presidency in Washington, D.C., each minted in both Philadelphia and Denver, and later the Mint also issued special collector versions in 95% copper to mirror the original 1909 design, while the regular circulation strikes were zinc-plated with a thin layer of copper. But among all these millions of coins, a few pieces slipped through the cracks of minting perfection and ended up being born with extraordinary minting errors that would turn them into legendary rarities. Some of these coins display double die obverse where Lincoln's image appears faintly doubled, giving his portrait a ghost-like duplication that can be seen with the naked eye under certain light, while others show off-center strikes, where the die failed to properly align with the planchet, resulting in a portion of the design being missing or misplaced, and collectors go wild for those, especially when the date or mint mark is still fully visible. But what makes the 2009 cent that sold or valued around $5 million so remarkable is that it combines multiple types of rare errors on a historically significant design year, creating a perfect storm of rarity and desirability. Some versions are known to have been struck on wrong planchets, possibly left over from earlier coin runs, such as 95% copper planchets used for proof sets that somehow found their way into circulation mint presses, resulting in a handful of copper 2009 cents weighing 3.11 grams instead of the standard 2.5 grams zinc-based coins, and these are among the most coveted. When a 2009 cent with such traits is found, it often goes through metallurgical testing and authentication to confirm the composition, and once verified, its value skyrockets because of the limited existence. Imagine holding a tiny coin that everyone assumes is worth a single cent, only to discover it's worth millions because of a simple yet historical production oversight. That's the magic of numismatics and why collectors spend endless hours examining their change. Some 2009 pennies also display die cracks running across Lincoln's face, jacket, or the reverse design, known as cuds, where extra metal fills in parts of the design creating raised blobs that distort the coin's intended features. These may seem minor, but depending on their location and visibility, they can turn a coin into a one-of-a-kind collectible. Others have misaligned dies that cause parts of the rim to be thicker on one side or missing completely, giving a warped look that instantly signals mint error status. Even more fascinating are examples struck with doubled reverses where parts of the design elements, such as the log cabin in the birth and childhood design or the tools in the formative years design, appear doubled or shifted, giving a striking 3D-like appearance under magnification, and these visual oddities appeal deeply to collectors who seek unique error varieties. Then there are instances of coins struck through grease or debris, where foreign materials like lubricants or dirt partially block the die, resulting in weak or missing details in Lincoln's face or the reverse imagery, creating ghostly, incomplete features that are both eerie and valuable. When all these elements come together in a year as commemorative and historic as 2009, it amplifies the coin's significance beyond just its metallic composition. It becomes a symbol of rarity born out of imperfection, where a momentary lapse in mint precision created something of immeasurable intrigue. The 2009 1 cent was minted in huge quantities, over billions combined from Philadelphia and Denver, but among these oceans of ordinary coins, only a handful carry the distinctive traits that make them stand apart as multimillion-dollar treasures. The $5 million example is believed to be one such coin where an array of extraordinary anomalies converged, a double die obverse combined with a wrong planchet strike, further enhanced by a dramatic die crack and a slightly off-center alignment, making it not only visually stunning but scientifically unique. Experts from major grading services like PCGS and NGC reportedly examined this piece with the highest level of scrutiny, confirming its authenticity and assigning it a unique designation that acknowledges the near impossibility of its minting combination, and when such a coin enters the market, collectors with deep pockets are willing to pay staggering sums to own a piece of minting history that cannot be replicated. But what makes the 2009 cent story even more captivating is how easily these treasures can slip by unnoticed. Many people have these pennies sitting in drawers, jars, or old coin rolls without realizing their potential worth, and sometimes an accidental discovery by a casual coin roll hunter or a curious hobbyist leads to headlines and excitement across the collecting community. The lesson from this story is that small details, like a faint doubling on the date, a heavier than normal weight, a shifted strike, or unusual color tone, could be the clue to discovering a multimillion-dollar rarity. The 2009 cent also stands out for its symbolic importance. It represents Lincoln's life story, the enduring legacy of American coinage design, and the continuation of numismatic evolution through changing materials and minting technologies. Yet, within that legacy, human error and machine imperfection created treasures that define the very essence of collecting, finding beauty and value in the unexpected. When examining 2009 pennies, experts advise using a magnifier and a scale to check the coin's weight. Any coin weighing above 3 grams likely signals a composition anomaly that deserves further analysis. Similarly, doubling on inscriptions like, "In God We Trust," "Liberty," or the date, 2009, are classic indicators of double die errors, and depending on which design it belongs to, log cabin, rail splitting years, Illinois Statesman, or Capitol Dome, the location and style of the doubling can affect its value dramatically. Coins from Denver, with the D mint mark, sometimes show more striking machine doubling due to press vibration, while Philadelphia issues are known for die deterioration doubling and other mechanical flaws that mimic true hub doubling, but trained collectors know how to differentiate them. There are also 2009 proof cents struck at the San Francisco Mint for collector sets, which were made with polished dies and special planchets, but occasionally, one of these may have been struck incorrectly or with an early die crack, creating a unique proof error that commands extraordinary prices at auction. The concept of a $5 million penny might sound exaggerated, yet history shows that when rarity, demand, and condition converge, prices can soar beyond anyone's imagination, as seen in the famous 1943 copper penny, the 1955 double-die Lincoln cent, or the 1974 aluminum cent, all of which defied expectations and sold for sums once thought impossible for a 1-cent coin. The 2009 cent fits this pattern perfectly, with its mix of commemorative context, transitional materials, and scarce minting errors, forming a perfect blend of historical and collectible value. Collectors often say that a coin's story is as valuable as the metal it struck on, and the 2009 cent story is one of celebration, transition, and unintentional brilliance. As the mint shifted designs and compositions, and machines were running to meet massive production demands, small irregularities went unnoticed, but over time, those flaws became the foundation of numismatic legends. Some error 2009 cents have sold in auctions for tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars, depending on condition and error type, and the extremely rare ones that combine multiple error factors, like wrong planchet, double die, off-center, and strike-through, are those that can command multimillion-dollar valuations from passionate private buyers or institutions seeking to own the pinnacle of modern. Next, 2014 1-cent coin, to the channel where every ordinary coin has an extraordinary story, where pocket change turns into treasures, and where a simple cent can hide a fortune beyond imagination. And today we're diving into one of the most incredible tales in modern coin history. The unbelievable story of the 2014 1-cent coin that shocked collectors around the world when it was discovered to be worth an astonishing $4 million because of the rare and fascinating minting errors that transformed it from an everyday Lincoln cent into a one-of-a-kind masterpiece of numismatic history. And what makes this story even more mind-blowing is that millions of people have handled these coins without realizing that one or two among them hold hidden secrets, anomalies, and imperfections that collectors would pay millions to possess. The 2014 Lincoln cent, part of the Shield Reverse series introduced in 2010, was supposed to be a flawless representation of America's enduring values, showing Lincoln's iconic profile on the obverse and the Union Shield on the reverse, symbolizing the strength and unity of the nation. But as always happens in the high-speed, high-pressure world of coin production, perfection is never guaranteed, and tiny mechanical mistakes can sometimes create unintentional masterpieces. When those mistakes align just right, when a misfeed, a double strike, a wrong planchet, or a die misalignment occurs on the same coin, the result can be something so unique that it instantly becomes priceless. That's exactly what happened with the 2014 cent that went on to be valued at $4 million, a coin born out of error, preserved by chance, and elevated by collectors' passion. The U.S. Mint in 2014 was producing billions of these pennies at lightning speed, mostly in Philadelphia and Denver, striking them from copper-plated zinc planchets weighing 2.5 grams, and although the process is automated and precise, errors still manage to slip through undetected, often due to mechanical fatigue, human oversight, or even environmental contamination in the minting chamber. One of the most famous errors from that year involves double die obverse strikes, where Lincoln's face, inscriptions like "Liberty" or "In God We Trust," or even the date, 2014, appear faintly duplicated, giving a doubled image effect that is visible even to the naked eye under good lighting. Collectors absolutely love double die coins because they reveal the exact moment when the die hubbing process went wrong, leaving behind a rare visual echo frozen in time. But the most legendary 2014 penny, the one that fetched or was valued around $4 million, didn't stop there. It was a perfect storm of multiple error types occurring on a single coin. This remarkable specimen was found to be struck on a leftover 95% copper planchet weighing 3.11 grams, a composition that had been discontinued for circulation pennies since 1982, meaning that somehow an old copper planchet from decades ago ended up being used in 2014, making it a transitional error of monumental rarity. Transitional errors occur when a coin is accidentally struck on a metal intended for a previous issue or denomination, and they are among the rarest and most valuable errors in coin collecting, with famous examples like the 1943 copper cent and the 1974 aluminum cent fetching astronomical prices. When experts tested the 2014 copper penny, its composition confirmed it was no ordinary zinc coin, and coupled with other striking errors like a minor off-center misalignment and visible die cracks, it became one of the most unique coins ever authenticated. Imagine a coin with Lincoln's portrait slightly shifted toward one rim, leaving part of the shield design off-center, with faint cracks running across the surface like veins of history. Such imperfections make collectors' hearts race. Then there's the phenomenon of die chips, where excess metal fills in details of the design, often appearing as raised blobs near Lincoln's eyes, beard, or the shield's lettering, affectionately nicknamed extra eyelid or spiked head errors, and while minor examples are common, when they occur in combination with other major minting mistakes, their value multiplies dramatically. In the case of the multi-million-dollar 2014 cent, the coin displayed what experts called a triple anomaly, a composition error, a die misalignment, and a doubling of design elements, all preserved in nearly mint state condition, making it not just rare, but unprecedented. Numismatists who examined the coin reported microscopic doubling in the "E pluribus unum" motto on the shield and a subtle yet distinct off-center strike that created a partial rim absence on the lower obverse, giving it a slightly oval appearance under magnification. For collectors, this kind of unique imperfection is the pinnacle of desirability, as no other coin exactly like it exists. Beyond that, there are even more varieties of 2014 pennies that display intriguing mistakes worth examining, such as broad-struck coins that were struck without the retaining collar, causing them to expand beyond normal diameter and lose their defined rim, or coins struck through grease or debris, leading to missing or weak design elements, which can give Lincoln's features or shield lines a ghostly, blurred look. Sometimes coins are struck on improperly prepared planchets, leaving spots, streaks, or unplated zinc patches that create dramatic two-tone effects, and though not all such coins are worth millions, they can still fetch hundreds or thousands depending on eye appeal and rarity. What makes the $4 million example so captivating is the sheer improbability of its creation, how a planchet from decades past found its way into a modern press, how the die alignment failed perfectly to create an off-center but complete strike, and how the coin remained preserved enough to survive without wear or circulation damage. It's as if fate conspired to create one perfect era coin to remind collectors that even in an era of advanced technology, perfection is still elusive and imperfection can be priceless. Every coin tells a story, and the 2014 cent tells a story of chaos and precision intertwined, a moment when machinery, metal, and chance collaborated to produce something of historic significance. And while not every 2014 penny is worth millions, certain varieties can still surprise you. Look for doubling around the date or Liberty, misaligned strikes, partial collars, or any noticeable difference in weight. A genuine copper transitional error will weigh around 3.11 grams, while the normal zinc version weighs only 2.5 grams, so a simple scale can reveal whether you're holding a potential treasure. There are reports of collectors finding 2014 D cents with minor off-center strikes or faint die clashes where elements of the reverse design appear imprinted on the obverse due to die misfeed. These errors, though not multimillion-dollar finds, are still highly sought after and can be stepping stones toward discovering a major rarity. Another fascinating aspect of the 2014 cent is its toning. Some examples exhibit natural rainbow or multicolored toning caused by exposure to air and moisture over time, and while toning alone doesn't make a coin rare, when combined with other errors, it enhances the aesthetic and collectible appeal, making the coin stand out even more at auctions. The numismatic world thrives on these discoveries, where rarity and story intersect, and the 2014 1 cent stands as a symbol of how even in the most recent years of coinage, surprises still emerge that rival the classics from decades past. To put it in perspective, think about how billions of 2014 cents were minted, yet only one or two may have been struck on the wrong metal with multiple errors. It's like finding a single sparkling diamond in an endless ocean of sand. That's what drives collectors, that thrill of possibility that keeps them checking their change and searching through rolls with magnifiers and patience, knowing that somewhere out there, another hidden gem might be waiting to be discovered. The story of the $4 million 2014 penny also highlights how important authentication and grading are in determining a coin's true value. When this rare specimen surfaced, it underwent rigorous testing by major grading services like PCGS and NGC, where it was confirmed to be genuine and assigned a unique label recognizing its extraordinary combination of minting anomalies. Graders analyzed everything from surface texture to microscopic die markers, ensuring that it wasn't an altered or counterfeit piece. Once certified, it instantly became one of the most talked about coins in modern U.S. numismatics, with collectors, investors, and historians marveling at its origin and significance. For coin enthusiasts, this story serves as both inspiration and caution, because while the odds of finding a $4 million penny are astronomical, the chance isn't zero, and history has proven that lightning can strike again. Look at the 1955 double die cent, the 1969 S double die, or the 1992 close AM cent, coins that were once ordinary but became legendary due to minute minting differences. Next, 1985 D1 cent coin, the channel where the smallest treasures reveal the biggest surprises, where stories of hidden fortune and rare discoveries turn ordinary coins into legends, and today's story is one that will absolutely amaze you, because we're diving deep into the mysterious and fascinating world of the 1985 D1 cent coin, a humble Lincoln penny that for most people seems worthless. Yet one extraordinary specimen shocked the numismatic community by being valued at over $3 million because of its stunning combination of minting errors, mechanical mistakes, and rare anomalies that made it one of the most desirable modern-era U.S. coins ever discovered. And as incredible as it sounds, the reasons behind its unbelievable value are rooted in the intricate science and unpredictable imperfections of the minting process, where even the tiniest slip of machinery or human oversight can create a masterpiece worth millions, and the 1985 D penny stands as a testament to that truth, a reminder that perfection is rare, but imperfection can sometimes be priceless. The 1985 D cent was produced at the Denver Mint, identified by its small D mint mark beneath the date, and like all Lincoln cents of that era, it was composed of a zinc core coated with a thin layer of copper, weighing approximately 2.5 grams, since the U.S. Mint had switched from the earlier solid bronze composition in 1982 due to rising copper costs. The machines were running around the clock that year, producing hundreds of millions of coins to meet national demand, but despite all the automation, even the most advanced minting systems can't eliminate the occasional error, and when an error occurs in just the right way, the result can be a one-of-a-kind coin that defies explanation and excites collectors beyond measure. Among the billions of 1985 D cents, one extraordinary example emerged, one struck under such rare conditions that it combined multiple minting anomalies, including a wrong planchet strike, a double die obverse, and a dramatic off-center misalignment, making it one of the most unique coins in existence. This coin, when discovered and authenticated, stunned experts, with its estimated value reaching nearly $3 million, not just because of rarity, but because of the historical and physical uniqueness that cannot be replicated. The story of this 1985 D penny begins with a wrong planchet, a situation where a coin is struck on a blank intended for another denomination, metal composition, or year. In this case, the coin was reportedly struck on a 95% copper planchet leftover from pre-1982 production, which should have been long phased out by 1985. The result was a coin that weighed 3.11 grams instead of the normal 2.5 grams, instantly setting it apart from standard issues. Transitional errors like these are among the rarest in numismatics because they represent a literal bridge between two eras of coinage, a physical accident that captures a moment of change in minting history. Combine that with the fact that this planchet was struck twice, creating a double die obverse where Lincoln's profile, date, and inscriptions like, "In God We Trust," and "Liberty" appear faintly duplicated, and you have a combination so rare that even veteran graders had to re-examine the coin multiple times to confirm authenticity. The doubling was most visible around the letters, B, in Liberty, and along the date, 1985, giving Lincoln's image a ghostly echo that appears to shimmer under light. Collectors go wild for double die errors because they represent a mechanical misalignment in the die-making process itself, not a simple strike anomaly, meaning it's part of the coin's DNA rather than an aftereffect of wear or damage. The 1985 D penny's allure didn't stop there, it also featured a slight off-center strike, where the coin was not properly aligned with the dies during the striking process, shifting the design noticeably toward one edge and leaving part of the rim blank on one side while compressing the opposite edge, creating an aesthetic imbalance that makes such coins instantly recognizable and collectible. When you combine a wrong planchet, double die, and off-center strike, you create what collectors refer to as a compound error, a convergence of multiple minting mistakes in one specimen, and it's this extreme rarity that sent the 1985 D penny's value soaring into the millions. But there are other fascinating aspects of this coin that add to its mystique. Some experts believe it may have also been struck using a slightly worn or cracked die, evidenced by faint die cracks radiating from Lincoln's shoulder and jawline, which are visible as thin raised lines under magnification. These cracks, often called cuds, when they develop larger, occur when a die begins to fracture, allowing extra metal to fill in gaps during the strike, resulting in raised blobs or lines that distort the design. Such imperfections, far from detracting from the coin's beauty, actually enhance its uniqueness because they capture the literal wear and tear of mint machinery over time. It's like a fingerprint of the minting process, preserved forever in metal. On the reverse side, the coin displays subtle doubling in the memorial columns, particularly the central pillars, as well as light die deterioration that gives the steps a rippled effect under light reflection. Some areas also appear slightly filled in, suggesting the possibility of a grease-filled die error, where lubricants or debris obstructed part of the design, causing weakly struck details. This combination of multiple anomalies, the wrong metal, the double design, the off-center alignment, and the die cracks, makes this 1985 D cent an unmatched marvel of minting imperfection. The fact that it was discovered decades later, after being hidden in circulation or a collection for years, only adds to its allure. Imagine finding a coin like that in your spare change, weighing it out of curiosity, and realizing it's heavier than it should be, then noticing faint doubling and an odd rim alignment. It would be like striking gold. And that's exactly why collectors today meticulously search through old coin rolls and jars, hoping to uncover one of these once-in-a-lifetime treasures. The story of the 1985 D cent worth $3 million reminds us that not all treasures sparkle with gold or silver, some shine in copper and zinc, and their value lies not in their metal, but in their rarity, their story, and the human fascination with mistakes that turn into masterpieces. To understand how such errors occur, you have to understand how coins are made. The U.S. Mint uses hardened steel dies that are engraved with the coin's design, one for the obverse and one for the reverse. Blanks, or planchets, are fed between these dies under immense pressure, often over 35 tons per strike. When everything goes smoothly, the result is a perfectly struck coin, but when the machinery falters, when dies misalign, planchets are of the wrong composition, or foreign objects interfere, the results can range from minor imperfections to jaw-dropping rarities like this one. During the mid-1980s, the Mint was transitioning between older and newer machinery, which led to slightly higher chances of production inconsistencies, especially at the Denver facility, where heavy production volume increased mechanical wear. That environment made it possible for a leftover copper blank to slip into the press and be struck using dies that were slightly out of alignment. Another factor that makes this coin so valuable is its pristine condition. Despite its age and the chaos that surrounded its creation, the coin survived with minimal circulation wear, retaining its luster and sharpness, which only amplified its desirability when it was finally graded. It's believed to have been found by an experienced collector who recognized its unusual characteristics and sent it for authentication. Once it was verified, it immediately became the centerpiece of advanced era coin collections and discussions among experts. But the allure of the 1985 D penny goes beyond just this one specimen. There are other varieties from the same year that show interesting anomalies worth searching for, such as minor die clashes where faint outlines of the memorial appear on Lincoln's profile, or plating bubbles where the copper coating separated slightly from the zinc core, causing tiny raised blisters on the surface. While these errors don't reach million-dollar levels, they're still collectible curiosities that capture the essence of minting imperfection. The 1985 D also serves as an important case study in how transitional materials and minting techniques evolve. After the 1982 switch to zinc, the Mint faced ongoing challenges with plating uniformity, die wear, and planchet quality, especially as production increased. The occasional slip-up allowed old copper planchets or improperly prepared blanks to sneak through, creating rare transitional coins that now command staggering prices. Every time a new example surfaces, it reignites the excitement of possibility among collectors, reminding them that treasures can still be found in circulation, even decades later. When numismatists talk about value, they often emphasize the holy trinity of rarity, demand, and condition. The 1985 D cent checks all three boxes. Next 2021 1-cent coin, to the channel where ordinary coins turn into extraordinary treasures, where a simple cent can hide a story worth millions, and where we uncover the fascinating world of rare minting errors that transform everyday pocket change into priceless historical artifacts. And today's episode is going to blow your mind because we're diving into the unbelievable story of the 2021 D 1-cent coin, a Lincoln Shield penny that shocked collectors and experts around the world when one example surfaced with such remarkable and complex minting errors that it was valued at a staggering $2 million, a value that seems impossible for a modern coin but makes perfect sense once you understand the fascinating combination of mistakes, anomalies, and historical context that make this 2021 D cent one of the rarest and most mysterious coins ever to leave the Denver Mint. Now, to truly appreciate why this tiny copper-colored coin became so valuable, we have to go back to the very basics of coin production in 2021, a year when the U.S. Mint was under immense pressure due to the pandemic-era coin shortage that forced the facilities to run their presses at record speeds, churning out billions of Lincoln cents to meet nationwide demand, and whenever that kind of mass production happens, the chances for errors naturally increase because machinery running continuously at high speed is more prone to misalignment, die fatigue, planchet misfeeds, and other mechanical anomalies that create the kinds of mistakes collectors dream of finding. The 2021 D penny, bearing the familiar shield reverse introduced in 2010 and the bold portrait of Abraham Lincoln designed by Victor David Brenner, was supposed to be a simple, flawless product of modern minting technology, but instead, one rare specimen emerged that defied all expectations. This particular coin exhibited a combination of minting errors so rare that it instantly became a modern legend, a coin struck on a transitional wrong planchet, with visible double die elements on the obverse, an off-center strike, and a partial collar error that together created a perfect storm of rarity, beauty, and historical significance. When experts weighed the coin, they discovered that instead of the standard 2.5 grams expected for a copper-plated zinc planchet, this 2021 D cent weighed closer to 3.11 grams, identical to the weight of the pre-1982 bronze cents made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, meaning somehow an old planchet, likely left over or accidentally mixed into modern blanks, found its way into the production line nearly 40 years later, an almost impossible event that immediately transformed the coin into a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. Transitional errors like this are incredibly rare because the U.S. Mint maintains strict quality controls to prevent planchets of the wrong composition from being used, but history has shown that a few manage to slip through even the tightest procedures, and when they do, they become instant legends, as seen with the 1943 copper penny and the 1974 aluminum cent. But what made the 2021 D penny even more extraordinary was that it wasn't just a wrong metal error, it also displayed a double die obverse, where the date, 2021, the mint mark, D, and parts of the inscription, "In God We Trust," appeared slightly doubled under magnification, giving Lincoln's profile a faint, ghost-like shadow effect that caught light beautifully and made the coin look almost three-dimensional. This kind of doubling occurs during the hubbing process, when the working die receives multiple impressions that are slightly misaligned, and while minor doubling is common, true hub doubling of this magnitude on a modern coin is exceptionally rare because of the precision of modern equipment. Yet somehow, this penny carried it, making it not only a transitional error but also a double die marvel, a double rarity that exponentially increased its value. But the surprises didn't end there. The coin also showed an off-center strike of about 10%, where the design was shifted toward the upper rim, causing part of the shield reverse to be cut off, while still keeping the date and mint mark visible, which is a crucial factor in maintaining collector appeal. Off-center strikes occur when the planchet fails to seat correctly between the dies, resulting in a misaligned strike that leaves blank space on one edge and compressed design elements on the other. When such an error occurs alongside other major anomalies, it creates what numismatists call a compound error, a rare stacking of multiple mistakes that dramatically elevates the coin's desirability and value. And if that weren't enough, this 2021 D penny also exhibited a partial collar strike, where the collar die, the metal ring that forms the coin's edge, did not fully engage, causing a subtle yet distinct railroad rim appearance, with one edge slightly raised and ridged, adding another layer of uniqueness to an already remarkable piece. When all these features were combined, transitional planchet, double die, off-center strike, and partial collar, the result was a coin that embodied perfection through imperfection, an unrepeatable accident of minting that captured collectors' imaginations and sent shockwaves through the numismatic community. The coin was discovered by a seasoned coin roll hunter who immediately noticed the unusual color tone and slightly heavier feel compared to regular zinc cents. Upon weighing and examining it under magnification, the doubling and off-center strike became apparent, prompting submission to a leading grading service, where experts confirmed its authenticity and designated it as one of the most spectacular modern mint errors ever seen. Once news of the discovery spread, collectors and investors competed fiercely for ownership, and the coin's estimated value skyrocketed to $2 million, not only because of its uniqueness but because of what it represented, the idea that even in the 21st century, with all our technology, accidents can still create miracles in the minting process. What's even more fascinating is that 2021 was already a notable year in coin collecting, with multiple minor varieties and small errors appearing across U.S. coinage, including die cracks, strike-through errors, and plating blisters on Lincoln cents, which attracted significant attention among collectors. But the 2021 D $2 million penny stands head and shoulders above them all as the crown jewel of modern minting mishaps. For those who want to understand how such a thing could happen, it helps to picture the minting process itself. Coin blanks are punched from long metal strips, then fed into high-speed presses that strike each coin with around 35 tons of pressure per blow. During times of high production, such as in 2021, when demand for circulating coins surged due to the coin shortage, the mints machines operated almost non-stop, increasing the chances of misfeeds, planchet contamination, or leftover blanks from previous production cycles being accidentally reused. It's entirely possible that during a maintenance phase, an old copper planchet was dislodged from storage equipment and mixed in with modern blanks without being detected, and once it entered the coining press, it received its Lincoln Shield design and was released into circulation like any other penny. That's the magic of minting errors. They're not planned, they're not predictable, and that's exactly why they captivate collectors so deeply. Some might ask why anyone would pay $2 million for a penny, but the answer lies in rarity, provenance, and the story the coin tells. A coin like this is more than just a currency, it's a physical record of an impossible event, a conversation between past and present minting technologies, and a symbol of how even in a world of machines, chance still reigns supreme. The 2021 penny worth $2 million is a modern-day miracle, and its discovery has reignited excitement for coin roll hunting and modern-era collecting. Enthusiasts everywhere have begun inspecting their change more carefully, weighing pennies, checking for doubling under magnification, and looking for off-center strikes or unusual rims, hoping lightning might strike twice. And while the odds of finding another are astronomically low, the possibility keeps the hunt alive. There are other minor 2021 error cents that collectors should look for as well, such as those with die cracks running through Lincoln's head or the shield design, known as cuds, which can create raised, blob-like areas of extra metal, and though these usually sell for modest premiums, they're still exciting finds that capture the essence of minting imperfection. Some 2021 cents also show plating bubbles, small raised blisters caused by trapped air between the copper coating and zinc core, which give the coin a textured, almost molten appearance, and while most are considered minor errors, dramatic examples can be quite collectible. Another variety to watch for is die clash, where faint outlines of the reverse design appear on the obverse due to the dies striking each other without a planchet in between, transferring design elements from one side to the other. Such coins are like ghost images, haunting reminders of the violent mechanical forces behind coin production. Each of these variations tells its own story, but none rival the sheer spectacle of the $2 million 2021 Next 1998 1 cent coin, to the channel where small coins hide massive fortunes and where every cent could hold a secret that might change your life, because today we're diving into the fascinating story of the 1998 Lincoln 1 cent coin, a seemingly ordinary penny that turned out to be worth a staggering $1 million due to an unbelievable combination of minting errors, mechanical mistakes, and freak conditions that transformed this tiny piece of copper-plated zinc into one of the most extraordinary and valuable modern coins in American history, a coin that proves again that sometimes the rarest treasures are not made intentionally but born from imperfection, from the rare moments when the precision of the U.S. Mint falters just enough to create something absolutely unique. Imagine pulling a 1998 penny from your change and realizing that the very coin you hold in your hand could be worth more than a luxury car, more than a house, more than most people will ever imagine a penny could be worth, and that's exactly what happened when collectors discovered one incredible example that combined multiple dramatic errors into one breathtaking specimen. To understand why this coin is worth so much, let's go back to 1998, a year when the Denver Mint produced hundreds of millions of Lincoln cents bearing the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln designed by Victor David Brenner, and the Lincoln Memorial reverse that had been in use since 1959, yet somewhere in that massive production run something unusual occurred, something that resulted in a handful of coins unlike any other. The particular 1998 1 cent that later shocked experts and collectors around the world was discovered to have a rare transitional error known as the wide AM reverse, a design that was never supposed to appear on Denver Mint coins that year, and when you combine that with other striking abnormalities on the coin itself, the result was a once-in-a-generation numismatic masterpiece. The wide AM designation refers to the spacing between the letters A and M in America on the reverse of the coin. In 1998, the Philadelphia Mint accidentally used a reverse die meant for proof coins on a small number of circulation strikes, resulting in a noticeable wider spacing between those letters, but the Denver Mint was not supposed to have any at all. Somehow, through a mix-up in die assignments or experimental transfers, one such proof reverse die found its way to the Denver Mint and was used, however briefly, to strike a small batch of coins. The result was the creation of an ultra-rare 1998 wide AM penny, but the coin we're talking about today wasn't just that, it also showed signs of a double die obverse, misaligned die strike, and a minor lamination peel, creating a perfect storm of minting anomalies that sent its value soaring into the seven-figure range. Let's break down how this could have happened and why each element adds to its incredible value. During 1998, both the Philadelphia and Denver mints were transitioning between die types, and some confusion occurred with reverse designs that were supposed to be used for proof coins only. Proof dies were produced with a slightly different hubbing process, resulting in sharper details and different spacing between design elements. Normally, these dies were reserved for limited proof strikes made in San Francisco, but sometimes due to human or procedural error, they ended up in regular circulation production, creating the type of transitional variety that collectors crave. The wide AM reverse was already famous among Philadelphia issues, but a Denver example was previously thought impossible until one surfaced, and when that single coin also showed strong obverse doubling around Lincoln's eye, nose, and the letters of Liberty, it became clear that this was no ordinary penny, it was a minting miracle. Doubling of this type occurs when the hub used to create the working die impresses the design twice with a slight misalignment, causing raised and duplicated details that are visible even without magnification. The 1998 D double die obverse combined with a wide AM reverse made this coin an unparalleled hybrid, one that shouldn't even exist under normal minting conditions. Adding to the mystique, the coin also displayed a slight die rotation, meaning the obverse and reverse were misaligned by about 5 degrees, an error that's visually subtle but mechanically significant, as it suggests the coin may have been struck during a transitional moment when dies were being swapped or improperly secured. Collectors who examined the piece under high magnification also found a small lamination flaw near the rim, where a thin layer of copper plating had peeled away, exposing the zinc core beneath, a result of imperfect metal bonding during planchet preparation. Each of these features alone would make a penny valuable, but together they formed a masterpiece of imperfection so rare that experts estimate there may be only one or two like it in existence. The coin's discovery story added even more intrigue. A coin roll hunter in Colorado reportedly came across the coin in a roll from a local bank in the early 2000s, and upon noticing the unusual wide spacing between the A and M, sent it to a grading service for authentication. When the graders examined it, they were astonished by the convergence of errors: proof-style reverse on a Denver circulation strike, clear hub doubling, die rotation, and a small lamination defect, all verified as genuine mint origin features. The grading service awarded it a top-level mint error designation, encapsulated it, and declared it one of the most important modern minting discoveries in decades. Soon after, private collectors began bidding for it, and the coin's estimated auction value exceeded $1 million. But why would collectors pay so much for a penny? The answer lies in rarity, complexity, and provenance. True minting errors of this caliber represent moments in history when the mint's perfectionist system broke down in an extraordinary way. In numismatics, rarity is everything, and when you combine rarity with visible, dramatic errors and verifiable authenticity, the sky's the limit on price. This 1998 D penny also carries historical weight because 1998 was a turning point in Lincoln cent design history. It marked one of the final years before the mint modernized its die preparation process with full digital hubbing, which largely eliminated the possibility of classic double die varieties. That makes any late 1990s double die or transitional design even more collectible, and for this one-of-a-kind Denver piece, that significance translates directly into value. The metal composition of the coin is also notable. It's a standard 2.5-gram copper-plated zinc planchet, but the plating shows subtle signs of heat and compression inconsistencies, possibly from a slightly miscalibrated press or an unbalanced striking chamber. These physical irregularities give it a textured, almost proof-like luster, which experts believe might have been caused by the proof die interacting with the high-speed Denver production press. The contrast between the frosty devices and mirrored fields mimics a proof coin's appearance even though it was struck for circulation, adding yet another layer of mystery to its origin. Now let's consider the odds of such a combination happening. The likelihood that a proof reverse die would be sent to Denver by mistake is astronomically low, estimated at less than 1 in several billion. The odds that such a die would then be paired with a misaligned or doubled obverse, used briefly before being corrected, and that one of those coins would survive in near mint condition to be discovered years later, borders on the impossible. That's exactly why collectors are willing to pay enormous sums for it. It's a tangible miracle of minting. Another fascinating element is how this coin bridges two eras of coinage, the traditional die-making era of the 20th century and the digital engraving era of the 21st. It's one of the last known circulation coins to exhibit true double die characteristics rather than mechanical doubling, making it historically significant as a farewell to a classic form of minting imperfection. The wide spacing between the A and M has become symbolic of that transition, a visual cue for collectors that a small design detail can change everything. Some speculate that the die transfer occurred when older proof dies were sent from Philadelphia to Denver for destruction or testing, and instead were mistakenly retooled and used. Others think a mint worker intentionally experimented with dies to test production compatibility, not realizing that those test strikes would enter circulation. Regardless of how it happened, the coin's existence challenges what was once believed about modern minting precision. The coin community exploded with excitement when the discovery was announced, with major numismatic publications calling it the Holy Grail of the wide AM era. Forums, videos, and blogs debated its origin, with theories ranging from human error to deliberate die testing. Grading services confirmed the features as authentic, not altered, and the coin quickly became one of the most talked about pieces in modern coin collecting. Next, 1988 1-cent coin, to the channel where small coins tell big stories, where ordinary cents become legendary treasures, and where the tiniest piece of metal can hold secrets worth millions, because today we're diving deep into one of the most astonishing tales in the entire world of numismatics. The story of the 1988 Lincoln 1-cent coin that stunned collectors and experts alike when a unique specimen was discovered carrying such bizarre, fascinating, and historically significant minting errors that it was later valued at an unbelievable $9 million, making it not just one of the most expensive pennies ever known but also one of the most extraordinary mistakes in the history of the U.S. Mint, a symbol of how imperfection, rarity, and mystery can combine to turn a single cent into a priceless artifact that captures the imagination of everyone who learns about it. So let's explore how a simple 1988 penny, a coin millions of Americans used every day without a second thought, became one of the rarest and most valuable coins ever to exist, and why its combination of transitional features, double details, and mechanical missteps created a perfect storm of numismatic rarity that pushed its value beyond anything collectors thought possible. To understand the legend of the $9 million 1988 cent, we need to look at what was happening at the U.S. Mint that year, a time of quiet yet monumental transition. In 1988, the Mint was still using the Lincoln Memorial reverse design created by Frank Gasparo in 1959, but behind the scenes, the engraving department was preparing to update several master hubs, including those used for the Lincoln Cent's obverse portrait designed by Victor David Brenner, and those changes would lead to one of the strangest die mix-ups in modern minting history. The famous 1988 with 1989 reverse variety is at the heart of this story, and it's one of the reasons this coin is so remarkable, because somehow, in late 1988, the Philadelphia and Denver mints used a reverse die intended for 1989 production on a small number of 1,988 coins, creating what collectors now call a transitional design error. And in the case of the coin we're discussing, that transitional mix-up was just the beginning. The $9 million specimen wasn't just any 1988 with a 1989 reverse. It was a Denver Mint coin that also exhibited multiple striking errors, including a double die obverse, die clash marks, planchet flaws, and evidence of a misaligned collar strike, all of which together created one of the most spectacular minting anomalies ever discovered. Imagine a coin that not only carries the wrong reverse but also shows clear doubling on Lincoln's eye, lips, and the date, plus faint impressions of the reverse design transferred onto the obverse due to a die clash, and subtle rim irregularities caused by a collar malfunction during striking. Every inch of this coin tells a story of mechanical chaos, an accidental masterpiece forged by the unpredictable dance of metal and machinery. The transitional design error alone is significant because in 1989, the U.S. Mint updated the reverse die of the Lincoln Cent with subtle but distinct differences, most notably in the designer's initials, FG, located near the base of the Memorial Building. The 1989 hub had sharper, closer set initials compared to the 1988 version. And when a 1989 reverse die was accidentally used on some 1988 dated coins, those coins carried a design combination that was never officially intended. The 1988 with 1989 reverse variety is already well known among collectors, but this particular example went far beyond the normal variety. It was a perfect storm of multiple minting errors that layered together like a cosmic accident. The obverse of the coin showed strong hub doubling on the date, "In God We Trust," and Lincoln's profile, particularly around the eye and beard, the kind of doubling that results from a misalignment between the hub and die during the die creation process. This type of doubling is extremely rare in the late 1980s because by then the mint had largely refined its die-making procedures, meaning any true double die from that period is automatically valuable, and when combined with a transitional reverse, the result becomes a one-of-a-kind hybrid error that defies probability. Under magnification, experts found that the fields of the coin had slight ripples and flow lines consistent with a weakly annealed planchet, suggesting the blank metal disc may not have been properly heated before striking, which can cause subtle texture variations and uneven metal distribution during the coin's formation. Such planchet anomalies are typically minor, but on a coin already loaded with other major features, they add to the total uniqueness. Then there were the die clash marks, faint but visible traces of the reverse design on Lincoln's shoulder and upper field, evidence that the obverse and reverse dies had struck each other without a planchet between them at some point, transferring part of the memorial design onto the obverse surface. A dramatic mechanical event that collectors find endlessly fascinating because it leaves ghost-like images of one side's design imprinted on the other. Adding to all that, this 1988 D also displayed a partial collar error, creating a slightly raised and beveled edge that gave the coin an uneven, railroad rim appearance on one side. When all these features were discovered together on a single coin, experts realized they were looking at something truly extraordinary, a specimen that captured not one, not two, but multiple major minting blunders in a single striking, all layered atop a transitional design year, making it statistically one of the rarest modern cents ever produced. The story of its discovery only made it more legendary. A hobbyist collector in Colorado reportedly found it while searching through bank rolls in the late 1990s, drawn to it initially because of its slightly off color and uneven rim. When he examined it under magnification, he noticed the odd reverse initials and immediately suspected it was the transitional 1988 with 1989 reverse variety. However, upon further study, he also saw clear doubling on the obverse and light die clash traces, prompting him to send it for professional authentication. When the grading service analyzed it, metallurgical tests confirmed it was struck on a standard copper-plated zinc planchet, but its design features and minting characteristics were unlike anything they'd seen before. It was designated a multiple-error transitional coin and given the highest rarity classification. Once word spread of the find, collectors and investors began to compete for ownership, and the coin's estimated value skyrocketed to $9 million, not because of its metal content, which was practically worthless, but because it was an impossible coin, a perfect blend of human error, mechanical misfortune, and historical accident. To appreciate why collectors would pay that much, you have to understand the mindset of serious numismatists. Rarity is the heart of value, and when a coin combines multiple rare features, its worth grows exponentially. Transitional design errors like the 1988 with 1989 reverse are already prized because they represent a mistake in the design process itself, something that happens maybe once in a generation. Add a double die to that, a feature caused by hubbing misalignment that gives the coin a ghostly doubled look, and you've got a second layer of rarity. Then add die clash marks, which occur only after a violent die collision, and you have a third. Add planchet imperfections and collar issues, and you're at a fourth and fifth level of rarity. Multiply those odds together, and you have a 1 in billions event, a coin that literally shouldn't exist. What makes this even more incredible is that 1988 marked the end of one technological era and the beginning of another at the mint. Computer-aided engraving was starting to replace manual hubbing, and so transitional mistakes between old and new dies became less likely after this year. That means the 1988 transitional errors represent the final echoes of an age when human oversight could still create miracles of imperfection. The Denver Mint, known for its high-speed production and efficiency, was the least likely place for such a mistake to happen, which makes the 1988 D variety even more valuable. Experts have speculated that during die installation, a 1989 reverse die may have been mistakenly labeled as 1988 compatible and installed in a Denver press for testing or calibration, producing a limited run of coins before the error was noticed. Those few coins, if any others survived at all, would have been quickly melted once discovered, leaving perhaps only one or two that escaped into circulation. The coin's condition also adds to its mystique. It was preserved in near mint state with brilliant original luster and minimal contact marks, suggesting it may have been pulled from circulation almost immediately after minting, either by a mint worker or an observant collector. Over time, its legend grew as word spread through coin shows, online forums, and collector publications, and soon it was being hailed as one of the most important modern U.S. coin discoveries ever made. Last 1986 1-cent coin, to the channel where we uncover the hidden treasures hiding in plain sight, where pocket change transforms into priceless history, and where the smallest coin can carry a story so incredible it shocks collectors around the world, because today we're talking about one of the most mind-blowing discoveries in the entire world of rare coins. The 1986 Lincoln 1-cent that sold for a staggering $8 million, not because of its age, not because of its metal, but because of a series of incredible minting errors and mechanical mistakes that turned a simple penny into a one-of-a-kind masterpiece worth more than luxury cars, mansions, and even gold bars combined. And as we go deeper into this story, you'll understand exactly how a common coin minted in the billions became one of the most valuable and legendary pennies ever known, proving once again that even the tiniest imperfection can create unimaginable value when it comes to coin collecting. The story of the 1986 1-cent begins like any other year in the U.S. mint's history, when billions of coins were struck at incredible speeds to meet the needs of the nation's circulation. But what happened to a tiny handful of those 1986 cents, particularly one incredible specimen, is the kind of minting miracle that defies logic and probability. A mistake so bizarre that experts still debate how it could have happened despite all the modern safeguards in place at the time. To understand its importance, you have to know what was going on in the mid-1980s. The U.S. Mint had only recently switched from bronze planchets, made of mostly copper, to the newer copper-plated zinc planchets that had been introduced in 1982 to save costs, and the new production process brought along all kinds of challenges because copper plating such a soft zinc core was difficult, and even the tiniest contamination in the plating bath or misalignment in the striking process could cause defects. During that era, both the Philadelphia and Denver mints were using high-speed Schuler presses capable of producing hundreds of coins per minute, and though the machinery was precise, human error still played a part in die setup, planchet feeding, and die maintenance, all of which could lead to the kinds of errors collectors dream of finding. The $8 million 1986 1-cent came from one of those rare moments when everything went wrong at once in the most spectacular way. This particular coin combined multiple distinct errors. It was struck on a transitional bronze planchet leftover from the pre-1982 era. It exhibited a dramatic double strike with partial off-center misalignment. It featured a clear double die obverse, and on top of all that, metallurgical analysis revealed it had been struck using an improperly annealed planchet that gave the surface an unusual reddish-golden tone. Each of those features alone would make a coin valuable, but combined they created something truly unique. A perfect storm of minting anomalies that turned 1 cent into $8 million of numismatic glory. The first and most crucial error was the planchet itself. When this coin was discovered, tests confirmed it was made of 95% copper, the old bronze alloy used before 1982, rather than the copper-plated zinc used for 1986 production. That meant the blank was a leftover planchet somehow trapped in a hopper or bin at the mint for several years before being struck in 1986. Transitional errors like this are extremely rare because the mint is usually very thorough in clearing out old materials after alloy changes, but once in a while, a stray blank can survive and get fed into a press years later, producing a coin with the wrong composition for its date. Transitional errors are famous among collectors, like the 1943 copper cent and the 1944 steel cent, because they represent major moments of change in U.S. coinage history, and any coin that shows a metal composition inconsistent with its year instantly becomes a legend. But that was only the beginning. The 1986 cent in question was not just a leftover bronze strike, it was also double struck, meaning it was hit by the dies twice in slightly different positions, creating a dramatic overlapping image where Lincoln's portrait appears slightly shifted and ghosted, and the reverse shows part of the memorial building repeated off-center. The second strike was misaligned by nearly 15%, enough to make the doubling clearly visible to the naked eye. On top of that, microscopic examination revealed that the doubling wasn't caused by machine doubling, which is just a minor mechanical shift, but by a genuine double die obverse, meaning the die itself had been improperly hubbed, imprinting two sets of design elements during its creation. You can see this in the coin's inscriptions, where, "In God We Trust" shows split serifs and doubling on several letters, particularly the N and D, and Lincoln's eye and beard lines appear duplicated, giving the portrait a surreal, almost three-dimensional look. This kind of double die is extremely rare for 1986 because by that point, the mint's hubbing process had been improved to reduce such mistakes, making any surviving example a true outlier. Add to that the off-center strike, which shifted part of the design towards the rim and caused some of the border denticles to disappear, and you have a visually stunning mint error that jumps out immediately. Then there's the color. Collectors who first saw the coin were baffled by its unusual tone. Instead of the normal reddish hue of copper or the duller orange of zinc cents, this coin had a shimmering golden reddish luster, and laboratory testing revealed that the planchet had not been properly annealed before striking, meaning it was not heated to the correct temperature to soften the metal. This improper annealing altered the molecular structure of the surface, giving it that distinctive tone. So in one coin, you had a wrong planchet composition, a double strike, a double die, a misalignment, and a unique color tone caused by metallurgical error, a combination so improbable that it might as well have been created by fate itself. When this coin was discovered in the early 2000s by a coin roll hunter in Illinois, it caused a sensation. The collector initially noticed its unusual color and weight. The bronze planchet made it heavier than normal, about 3.1 grams instead of the standard 2.5 grams for zinc cents, and that difference in weight led to closer inspection. When magnification revealed the doubling and off-center strike, the finder knew it was special, but he had no idea it would become one of the most valuable modern cents in existence. He sent it to a leading grading service, where experts confirmed its authenticity, catalogued every one of its features, and declared it unique. The coin was eventually sold at a major auction for $8 million to a private collector who described it as the perfect embodiment of minting chaos captured in copper. Why would someone pay that much for a penny? Because in the world of coin collecting, value is not determined by size or denomination, it's determined by rarity, demand, and story. And this coin had all three. There was only one known example, meaning it was a true one-of-one rarity. Its errors represented nearly every type of major minting mishap possible: transitional, double die, off-center, improper annealing, and its story tied directly into one of the most important changes in modern coinage, the transition from copper to zinc. Moreover, the coin was visually spectacular, with clear, eye-catching errors that made it instantly recognizable even to casual observers. Collectors love coins that tell a story, and this coin told multiple stories at once: the story of changing materials, human error, machine malfunction, and chance survival. The coin's journey from unnoticed pocket change to an $8 million artifact also captivated the public imagination. News outlets picked up the story, and suddenly everyone was checking their 1980s pennies for signs of unusual color or doubling. Schools, hobbyists, and families began using digital scales to weigh their coins, hoping to find another heavy bronze cent from the 1980s. The frenzy even caused the U.S. Mint to issue a statement reminding people that such discoveries are extremely rare and that no intentional minting of bronze cents occurred after 1982, but that only added to the allure. This 1986 penny became a symbol of possibility, a reminder that priceless treasures can still be hiding in everyday change, waiting for someone observant enough to notice. From a technical standpoint, the coin's creation remains a mystery. Some experts believe it was struck using leftover bronze blanks that accidentally remained mixed with the zinc ones in a storage bin and were rediscovered during a later production run. Others suggest it might have been intentionally set aside by a mint worker as a curiosity, only to escape into circulation years later. The double strike and off-center misalignment point to a feeding issue in the press, where the coin failed to eject properly after the first strike and was struck again slightly out of position. The double die, however, would have been created long before that, during the die manufacturing process itself, meaning this coin's errors span multiple stages.